The movie kicks off with a fantastical tale featuring Casimir, a valiant warrior and the last hope for the living in their battle against the undead. Leading this fearsome army is Lady Morena, who, after a ruthless campaign of slaughter, aims to dominate the world. But Casimir, with his final cunning strategy, incinerates the entire undead horde. The scene then shifts to Trevor, who crafts toys inspired by Casimir and his epic battles. He's engrossed in the legendary tale of Casimir and the enchanting Morena, who cleverly manipulated Sir Brant with her charm. Trevor's reverie is interrupted by a knock at the door. It's Mr. Parsons. Parsons speaks of the elderly couple, Ted and Irene, who, despite their age, manage their home with impressive care. He also mentions Birch, the town's resident hippie, who, surprisingly, keeps his place spotless. Meanwhile, Doc, though enigmatic, maintains his space meticulously. Parsons reveals he has a petition to present to the landlord, aiming to evict Trevor. Desperate, Trevor pleads for another chance, but Parsons is unyielding. The movie then cuts to Trevor's wife, Bobby, who has invited her friend and co-worker, Harriet, over for a little get-together. When asked how she stays so fresh despite her hectic schedule, Harriet compares work to shagging, cheekily saying, "The more you do it, the more it makes you horny." Just then, Harriet's quirky boyfriend, Derek, shows up, and she turns her attention to him. Later that night, Trevor is heading home when Doc stops him, revealing that he didn't sign the petition because his motto is, "Live and let live." As Trevor walks away, Doc is seen concealing a body under his feet. When Trevor finally gets home, Bobby bluntly tells him she hasn't prepared dinner but has left a slice of pizza for him. Disgusted by the leftovers, Trevor snaps when Bobby mocks him for being jobless. Frustrated, he captures a picture of Harriet and heads out to see his friend Graham. At Graham's house, Trevor vents his disgust for Parsons and even suggests killing him. Graham, however, takes it further by detailing various methods to end Parsons' life. Trevor rejects these ideas and instead reveals he has brought a picture of Harriet. Graham is inspired, modeling Lady Morena after Harriet and imagining himself as Sir Brant. Trevor hands over the picture and cheats in their game, provoking Graham to curse him, claiming the undead will haunt him. Meanwhile, a body hidden by Doc mysteriously leaves its grave. The next morning, Bobby wakes up Trevor, yelling at him to find a job and complaining about how hard she's working to support them. She lights a cigarette, and Trevor accuses her of smoking just to annoy him. Frustrated by Bobby's rudeness, Trevor loses his cool. At the same time, Harriet is playing a rough horsey game with Derek, pushing him so hard that he collapses on her. Panicking, she gets no response from Derek. Trevor, still fuming, returns to his shed, muttering curses about Bobby, which Parsons overhears. Bobby then goes to Harriet, who tells her that Derek died during their game, calling him a true gentleman, but Bobby seems uninterested. Meanwhile, Parsons, sickly and bothersome, knocks on Trevor's door, further irritating him. When Parsons mentions his distilled vodka and accuses Trevor of stealing his potatoes, Trevor snaps and threatens to kill him with his own spade. Parsons flees the shed but accidentally gets himself killed. Trevor rushes home to find Bobby busy waxing Harriet. She shoos him away, and Trevor arrives at Graham's place to inform him of Parsons' death, likening it to a scene from a Casimir story. When asked about the body, Matt says he hid it in his shed and suggests calling the police, though he doubts they will help as he seems pretty much guilty. Distracted by Harriet's waxing strip, Graham makes a deal with Trevor in exchange for it. Trevor, frustrated and unsure what to do next, heads back to his shed but gets lost in his fantasy, imagining himself as Casimir, Graham as Sir Brant, and Harriet as Lady Morena. The trio, now enemies, argues fiercely. When Brant and Morena team up, Casimir feels utterly helpless. Graham urges him to surrender, but Casimir stands his ground. Suddenly, Trevor snaps back to reality when his scared neighbor Peter collides with him and urges him to find sanctuary. Trevor grabs an axe and starts hacking Mr. Parsons into pieces. As he's digging to bury Parsons' legs, the news reports a zombie apocalypse, and the reporters are killed live on air. Back in the shed, Trevor, still thinking like Casimir, muses about not needing to hide bodies. But when he picks up the rest of Parsons, the corpse comes back to life and attacks him. Trevor panics, tries to escape, but the shed door is blocked by his spade. He removes a window pane, but Parsons grabs his leg. Trevor uses the pane as a shield and barely survives. Meanwhile, Birch hears the commotion, but zombies overpower and kill him before he can move. Parsons grabs Trevor again, but he manages to break free. Gasping for breath, Trevor is thrilled to see his phone charged. He calls Bobby, but she's busy with a friend, and Trevor assumes zombies have gotten her. Frustrated, he dials 911 but gets no help. Overwhelmed, he reaches out to Graham for help with zombie Parsons. Graham, lost in his fantasies about Harriet, doesn't believe him at first. When he hears the noises, he advises Trevor to kill Parsons by blowing his head off. In the struggle, Trevor falls next to Parsons and loses his shoe. Enraged about his lost Nike, he gouges out Parsons' eye. After another tough fight, Trevor escapes the shed but faints from exhaustion. Later, Graham arrives, and Trevor, in a frenzy, takes the spade and kills him brutally. They argue about Graham's weird helmet, and as they talk, Trevor remembers Bobby and Harriet. Trevor assumes they're dead while Graham urges him to save their women. As they move forward, they stumble upon Peter's severed arm and his camera. Checking the footage, they see his final recording where he warns everyone about the zombies before being overwhelmed. Disgusted, Graham and Trevor watch him die. Suddenly, Peter and 2 other zombies appear. While Trevor and Graham fight them off, Doc arrives and saves Trevor by killing Peter. Doc tells Trevor not to be shocked, reminding him he saw what Trevor did to Parsons. Graham insists on checking Doc's bag and vomits upon finding severed zombie heads. The second bag reveals even more gruesome women's body parts, further horrifying them. Trevor wants to leave, but Graham insists they must kill the zombies on the spot, as they are no longer human. Graham even asks Trevor to kill him if he ever turns into a zombie. As they move on, they see Derek emerging from an ambulance, now a zombie. When they reach Trevor's house, Bobby knocks him out. Trevor, now in a fantasy as Casimir, meets a beautiful lady named Ophelia, who introduces her sisters Ophelia and Ophelim. They wish to tend to the brave warrior's wounds and each ask for a kiss. Graham wakes Trevor up, falsely claiming he's been unconscious for days. Bobby starts taunting Trevor, and he notices Harriet wearing his t-shirt. When he asks why, he's stunned to learn that Bobby and Harriet have been intimate. Graham, cheekily, wants to see them together. Trevor tries to excuse himself for a bath, but Bobby insists they have important matters to discuss. Frustrated, Trevor snaps, telling her how the world went mad while she was fooling around with her friend. He leaves, advising them to stay away from the windows and doors. While bathing, Trevor feels a moment of relief. Meanwhile, Graham asks Harriet if she is bisexual, to which she responds that she might be a lesbian but isn't sure. Bobby then approaches Trevor in the bathroom, apologizing and lying that Harriet wants a threesome, making him blush. Shortly after, Harriet, Graham, and Bobby rush in, revealing that zombies have arrived and Harriet has been bitten. The movie flashes back to when Harriet hears a noise and goes outside to investigate. As she approaches a corner, Derek, who was hiding there, attacks and bites her cheek off. Trevor is furious, knowing he warned them to stay away from doors and windows. Suddenly, they fall silent, hearing zombie noises. Bobby, terrified, pushes Harriet away. Trevor keeps everyone quiet as they notice Derek entering the bedroom. Graham and Bobby suggest leaving the house, but Graham insists on finding some clothes first. He devises a plan, asking Trevor to wrestle Derek while wearing just a towel. Feeling sad, Harriet recalls how she used to give Derek discounts. Graham, determined to confront Derek, asks Trevor to get dressed while he distracts the zombie. Trevor thanks his friend for stepping up. As Graham and Trevor head to the bedroom, Bobby comforts Harriet. In the bedroom, Graham attacks Derek for hurting Harriet while Trevor quickly grabs his shorts. He leaves on Graham's orders but hears his friend getting injured. Trevor returns to the women and informs Bobby that his habit of leaving clothes on the floor saved him today. Suddenly, Graham joins them, revealing he has been bitten. He urges Trevor and Bobby to leave before more zombies find their way in. Trevor and Graham share an emotional farewell, but Bobby leads Trevor away. As they leave, Trevor realizes how much Bobby cares for him, and they hug, consoling each other over the loss of their friends. Outside, they get surrounded by zombies, but Doc arrives just in time to save them. Introducing Bobby to Doc, Trevor listens as Doc tells them to leave and work on repopulating the world, as he has everything under control. Later, Bobby asks Trevor to be a hero like Doc, but Trevor admits Doc's too strange, having seen only one side of him. Leading her to his shed, Bobby starts arguing with Trevor over his habit of playing with toys. She eventually apologizes for cheating on him, and Trevor forgives her. Bobby seduces him, promising a good time, but as she bends over, a toy hurts her knee, infuriating her. Trevor loses his temper when she throws the toy away. They hear noises and discover a horde of zombies heading their way. Trevor realizes they are all the allotment tenants and steps back in shock. While Bobby is distracted, urging him to shut the door, a zombie attacks and bites her. She manages to get back inside, panicking from the pain. Trevor remains silent, and Bobby desperately hopes she's immune to the virus. She urges Trevor to come up with a plan. Lost in his fantasy, Trevor imagines meeting Graham as Sir Brandt, who offers sage advice. Graham reminds him how he single-handedly burned Lady Miranda's battalion of zombies and suggests doing the same. Initially, Trevor thinks about leaving Bobby, but Graham urges him to burn the zombies instead. Snapping back to reality, Trevor tells Bobby his plan to set the zombies on fire. They douse the shed with Trevor's vodka, and Bobby insists on staying back to lure the zombies, not wanting to end up like them. With no other options, Trevor leaves the shed. As Bobby lures the zombies inside, he throws a Molotov cocktail, killing them all in a fiery blaze. The scene shifts to several weeks later. Trevor has learned to tend the ground and has embraced his role as Casimir, appreciating the sacrifices Bobby and Graham made to save his life. As he tends to a cabbage patch, he spots a zombified Doc approaching. In a swift, decisive move, Trevor blows Doc's head open and the movie ends here.